Welcome to Land Academy. I'm Jack Butala.
I'm Jill DeWit.
We show you how to buy real estate for half of what it's worth.
And sell it on the internet really fast.
We are Jack and Jill, and this is the Jack and Jill Show 2. With over 15,000 completed transactions, we're the experts at acquiring property.
Of all kinds, not just land.
For half price and flipping them for way more.
All right, let's get this show started.
Jack and Jill here.
Hi.
Welcome to the show today. In this episode, Jill and I talk about how to prepare for that inevitable economic downturn. Before we get into it, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the landinvestors.com online community. It's free.
Cool. Billy M. We know who you are, Billy. Asks, or Sham God asks, I'm looking to close on a deal and start marketing the properties, but the seller is making me wait until January 1st, 2018 to sell to me. Clearly a tax reason.
Yeah.
Should I give them a check and start marketing the property and tell them to cash the check after January 1st and record it after January 1st? Or should this be a deal that I should pass on since sellers make me wait until after the new year? Doesn't bother me at all.
No, I think your concept is great.
Yeah.
If he needs something, like let's close on January 1st, which is totally valid. This happens in real estate all the time, by the way.
Yep.
Then you need something. He needs something, you need something.
Yeah.
I think it's totally fair. Chances are, this member has a track record of doing pretty good deals. So chances are, if it fits your criteria, then it's a good deal. If it's good enough to go through all this, then absolutely.
Yeah.
You'll have it sold by then anyway. And you can tell the buyer, can't convey it until January 2nd.
Maybe that's when the divorce is final. Maybe that's why.
Maybe that's
why.
Are you thinking about divorce?
I'm sorry, just thinking, what might trigger having to have money and things appear on certain dates? First, I would think taxes, and then next, I think divorce.
It's divorce day is Thursday for Jill. She wakes up in the morning, and you know how she always says, I have little mantras that I have in my head?
Yeah.
It's Thursday.
On the recording days, it's like, I'm going to kill somebody.
It's Thursday. Divorce is possible.
No. That's so funny. Oh. Truth be told.
Oh, here we go.
Truth be told, we've had to make some staffing changes. So
we had a rough week.
We did. So yeah, we've got a lot going on right now, and so yeah, no, I'm not going to divorce you or anything. You know that.
I do.
Okay.
If we decided to split up for any reason,
gosh.
it would be kind of we shouldn't even be talking about this. Really,
this is bad.
I don't even like saying it out loud, but it would be a race.
Oh, I have. You know what? I have a really good compliment to say about this. As a matter of fact, and I had a meeting with an employee, and it was a group that I was talking to. I was speaking in a group the other night, and one of our staff members was there, and she piped in to say, look, this is really, it got into a couples discussion about how you and I are. And I said, look, this is Jack's role in our company, and this is my role, and this is what we do, and how it works, how it works. And I was explaining how our offices are in different zip codes and everything. And our staff member piped in and said, oh my gosh, you should see these two. She said they could not be more opposite, is her thing about how we are. Like, she was describing a meeting that I started out running and Jack took over, and Jack, I
can't wait to hear this.
Oh yeah, she's like, all she kept saying was next topic, because that's Jack. She said she was describing the story of this meeting, and it was really positive that we are very, very different people, and the way we run things and the way we manage people are very, very, very different. But she goes, but these two make it work. They're awesome. They're great together.
It was positive.
It was totally positive. So I wanted to save this little sidetrack event and make it into a positive event, because it is true. Even though we see things differently, we are obviously very good together. So
there's two types of people that go to work in the morning, and we have both types in our group.
I thought you had both types in our home.
No, actually, we only have one type in our home. It's a good kind.
Okay.
There are people who go to work. My staff is packed full of people that are just like this, what I'm going to describe. They get in the morning, they want to get a bunch of stuff done. I mean, they don't want to please me or anything. They have it in their gut to do well at the job, accomplish some stuff. And, money is almost secondary. And I don't care about that, because we're famous for paying top dollar if you perform. So there's that kind. And there's another kind who come to work for some other reason. Let's just keep it at that. And that's just, I'll leave it at that.
Hiding from their home life.
Could be
Just
that.
kidding.
Could be they want a vent. There's a lot of people I'm realizing. I don't know if it's this West Coast office that's relatively new that just want to talk. They want to talk and vent.
Oh,
we're getting some new office
That's
space.
your office. No, you know what? I got to tell you, my office isn't like that. It's pretty darn quiet. You'd be surprised. You walk in my office, it's pretty much dead silence.
Not when I'm there.
We're like heads down.
I hear
working.
a lot of venting when I'm there.
Oh. Well, when I'm there, it's quiet.
Oh my gosh. All
No,
right, well,
we're like heads down working. I'm the one that I could feel like I'm the troublemaker when I'm in my office. I'm like, hey, you guys. And I'm interrupting everybody. So
that's good to know.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Let's just not go to each other's offices.
That's a good idea. I'm not going to tell you where my next one is. Just kidding.
If you have a question or you'd like to be part of this circus, reach out to either one of us on landinvestors.com. Today's topic, how Jack and Jill prepare for the economic downturn. This is the meat of the show. Jill's just, I can hear it. Even though she's saying and doing nothing, I can hear it in her soul going, why do we do these negative shows? Could there be anything more negative than talking about an economic downturn? Everything's going great right now.
You know what, Jack? I'm going to surprise you.
Really?
No, I'm on the same page. You need to be prepared for whatever it is. And I do think things are going to change.
They are.
Not afraid.
And then they're also going to change back.
Yeah.
So like the pendulum swings back all the time. But Jill's familiar with this because she and I got pounded.
Have weathered a few storms.
In the last downturn. In fact, this next one coming up, I think it's going to be my third or fourth. It'll be my fourth, technically my fourth professional downturn. You know, time working during a downturn. So there's a few simple things that you can implement and that you can watch for to really plan for it pretty easily. And this is the good news, you know. So let's turn this thing into a real positive. You listeners should be one of the few people who are keeping an eye on it and planning for it, and you're not going to be too affected by it. Number one, micromanage any type of debt that you have, including mortgage debt. So this is personally and professionally. And then, so you don't want to end up with a bunch of debt. You do not want to end up with a lot of expenses, let's say, like rent,
Car payments.
I mean, not even personally, but like professionally, office buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
And you want to, what we teach here and what we Jill and I live by it to the end is not leveraging property. That's how you get in a real lot of trouble during an economic downturn. If you own a bunch of assets that were good enough for you to purchase, and all of a sudden the sales market for those assets is no longer the way it used to be, the worst thing that can happen is you sell them to liquidate them, maybe even for less than you purchased, but you still are in business and you're still cash. You know, there's money coming in. You may not be positive, but you're eating. Let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jill's going to share, and then after that, we're going to talk about what to look for, so you can predict when this is going to happen. Go ahead.
I was going to say, like you said, you're paying cash for these. Pay cash. That's my big thing. Pay cash, pay cash, pay cash. And like Jack just said, so you didn't double your money on the deal because of the downturn, because you paid cash for this asset and you're sitting on it. So maybe you made 70%, profit. That's okay. Like Jack just said, you're going to be just fine. You're still way ahead. What if things really go south? All right, I only made 50% profit. You're still going to be fine. That's all good. I was going to add one little note.
Or you lose money. I mean, you and I, it hasn't happened too often, maybe a handful of times, where this is when during the absolute depression in like 2011, we sold assets that were less than they were, or about, let's say, what we paid.
Right, what we
didn't
paid.
lose money.
Right. But I didn't make a lot.
Right.
I just kind of covered everything, and I got the cash in my pocket.
Yeah.
It's nice to have. It's like having a safe full of gold that if you need to go into it, you can.
Right.
You don't want to, but it's there, kind of thing. And we've kind of done that. Well, I was going to say, you were talking about like personal, and mortgages, and make sure you're set up right and all that good stuff. I think that sometimes I recently filled out an application for a new office for our team, and as I'm spelling out our economic situation, because landlords all want to see that. Anyway, I don't think they almost even believed us, if that makes sense.
No, I know they don't.
Yeah, because when I really say we have no debt, We have no liabilities. We have, they're like, this can't be real.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, homes are paid for, cars are paid for. We really don't have anything. And I almost think it's funny that it's, like I said, they don't believe us. And I think that's nuts.
Yeah. I mean, but I've been doing this my whole life.
Really?
This exact same thing. Yeah.
Okay. And it's funny because you helped me a lot. If I can't pay cash for it, if you can't, it's even like cars, save up and pay cash for a car. Your life will be so different. It's such a good feeling.
Buy a really good car for $1,500.
I wasn't even say $5,000.
Well, for a girl.
Oh, well then it's $15,000.
Buy a really good car. If you're a guy that has no interior at all but runs good, and for $1,500.
Yeah, well that girl, that's $15,000. But anyway. It's all good. We're saying the same thing. So thank you, Jack.
Yeah, no, it's good. So here's the good news to make this a positive thing. Hey, by the way, this last economic downturn that we had in 11, I guess we're technically from like 7 to 11, 7 to maybe, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 to 10, 11, 12-ish, let's just say, was the single worst real estate depression in the history of this country, including 1929 with the great stock market crash, before the government had a lot of stopgaps to avoid that stuff. So I am going to go on record here and say in our lifetimes, including very young listeners, you won't see that kind of downturn again unless there's a real serious political problem, which there never seems to be. Mm-hmm. So that's the good news. We won't see something like that again where there's just 15 foreclosures on every block all around the country.
Right.
And when you really go back and look at the national statistics, it's the squeaky wheel that gets all the attention.
It's true.
And it wasn't that bad.
Some areas were not hit that hard.
Unemployment was only like 11%, which is really actually bad. It's usually around 5%, but still, when you look at the actual number of people who are just mowing through it, as my attorney says, weathering the storm, and getting through it, it's a vast majority of people were doing that, getting up and going to work. There were some sectors that got hit real hard. Real estate was one of them, which is what we happen to be in. So let's stay on track here. How do you predict this thing? What do you look at? Here's what I look at. You can set your clock by the types of real estate that go down first and the ones that follow. So in general, people will stop buying unnecessary real estate or stop getting involved in that first.
Like vacation homes and all that stuff.
Office space. Office space is a fantastic indicator of when things start to go south, because if you're sitting around the kitchen table with your spouse and some stuff's getting tighter, you're wondering what's going to happen at work, the first thing you start to do if you own a business is let's start cutting costs. So, do we really need all this office space? No. Mm-hmm. So that's a real good indicator. And national statistics are published all over the place about occupancy and vacancy for commercial property. The second thing that starts happening is people stop buying houses. Specifically, stop buying houses that are new. So every state, you got to dig for this information. Every large municipality like Maricopa County, which is Phoenix, and LA County and Los Angeles, publish entitlement applications. It's a matter of public knowledge, just like real estate ownership records, assessor data. And you can find out which large builders, new home builders, are applying for entitlements or new home permits. And once that starts to month over month go down dramatically, you're heading into some problems. So these are not difficult things to see to make the future. So it goes without saying, the longer ahead you can plan for this thing, the better. But the basic stuff, Jill just hit it. Don't have any debt. If you're brand new, it's hard to do. Oh, great, Jack. That's real easy for you to say. That's real easy for you to sit there and say, don't have any debt. And have a nice day.
Yeah.
There's a lot of resources out there to help you do that. And frankly, there's some things that really make that hard. Like having kids makes it hard.
It's true.
And having getting caught up with the Joneses, that'll make it real hard. You make that hard on yourself. Or if you're trying to impress your spouse with the huge house that you live in that you can't afford, that's bad. Mm-hmm. You're going to get caught bad with that. And then I think it goes without saying, just have a bunch of cash reserves. I
agree. That was my things. Pay cash, save cash.
I run all these companies that we have, and I wake up saying this to myself. If our revenue was cut in half tomorrow, I mean overnight, cut in half, would it change my life? And the answer is no. Or I won't. I make decisions that way. if we're going to take on new office space or dramatically take on a lot of new staff or something, I'll eke it out instead of doing it all overnight to make sure that if something happens overnight, we're going to be okay.
I love that. Thank you, Jack.
I also put Jill to sleep during the show.
Yeah.
What do you do? Do you even think about this stuff?
Of course I do. This is very important. Oh man. Well, you know what? That's part of the why we do so well when we buy properties. I'm thinking of worst case scenario, what could happen with this property? I'm still going to make money. I'm buying it. If that makes sense. So I'm always that far ahead. And usually I kind of think about that. I'm like, all right, I know it's worth $4,000. I'm buying it for $1,000, whatever it is, and I can sell it for $2,000. If I'm lucky, I might get $3,000. And you adjust the numbers, obviously, but
add a couple zeros.
But so I don't worry. And then I don't worry too, because the money that I'm spending, and this is why we're doing this show. We wanted everybody to think this way. The money that I'm investing in these properties is money that I don't need right now to operate. I've built up my acquisition funds. I have allocated acquisition funds. And if it takes 3 days or 3 weeks to sell, I'm not worried. That's on that budget. And I used to do this. I don't now, but I used to have a budget, an acquisition budget, as we were starting out. And when it was spent, it was spent. And then I'd have to hurry up and sell some stuff so I could buy some more. Remember that?
Yeah.
And I would tell people too, I would tell my sellers that I'm out of acquisition funds this month. And I would look, this is true. I wasn't even trying to pitch them anything. I'm like, look, this is what I have left. I can give you this today, or I can give you, if you wait a month, I'll make it X. And, sometimes I might just say, oh, fine, I'll take that, just to get the sale today.
Right.
Kind of thing. And that's it. So I don't, Jack, we're in such a good spot right now. You and I have 19 fallbacks. We have paid for a fully paid for residence in Scottsdale. So what's to worry? You have really set us up properly, and I really appreciate that. And I'm glad that you're doing this show for me and for everyone, to help everyone. That's really why we're here.
This. Yeah, it's not about us, but thank you.
Yeah.
It's about, explaining this.
Exactly. If you're renting, you could rent for years and be just fine. There's nothing wrong with renting a home for a long, long, long time.
That's a whole different discussion. I'm really talking about as a business owner, and I completely agree with what you're saying. As a business owner, you have now more responsibility to watch this, because you're the one who's going to suffer if you just figuratively get caught with your pants down.
Yes.
And overnight, some stuff changes.
You're right.
It's not going to change overnight. But the whole point is, this is a positive thing, not a negative thing. The whole point is you have a lot more control over watching what's going to happen with this economy than you think.
Right.
So right around, this is my prediction, and I was right last time too, right around 2020, we're going to see a fairly significant, nothing like last time, significant slowdown in sales for real estate. But the even better news is then you just go buy more.
Right. I was just going to say that.
If you've got cash reserved up, some of the best deals that Jill and I have ever made. The single best real estate deal Jill and I have ever made was in the worst economic situation in 2011 in the history of this country. We were buying tons of properties all over the place for less than $100. $100.
That should be the lesson right here,
and
by the way.
Even
this is why you want to build up your cash. If you think about this, like Jack's saying, so you're prepared, you're ready, you're watching, and you're quietly stashing away cash to act on this when the time is right. That's not crazy.
Yeah, and even in the downturn, we were selling property that we're buying for way less than $100 for $500, which is a smoking deal for people that we were selling it to. And it's worth $5,000.
Yeah.
All those people did great during that downturn that bought the property from us.
Right.
It's our whole business model.
None of this has to sink the ship. You just have to be ready for it and be prepared. So, and that's and there's a lot of the other wholesalers and land sellers that were around back in that time that they didn't make it. And it's interesting because
I can name their names.
Yeah. When we get calls now from, letters sent in 2005 that they still have, it's interesting. Their first thing is, wow, you guys are still here. I'm like, yeah. You know, we're still here.
Yeah.
We didn't go anywhere. Sure, we got hit, but who didn't? You know, but we were ready and prepared, and that's what we're doing for you here. So,
well said.
Thank you.
Join us in the next episode where we share an interview from MC. How do you spell it?
Lobsher.
MC Lobsher.
Yep. Cool. And we answer Bart's question about multiple owners for one property. Ooh.
You are not alone in your real estate ambition. Good
Yeah.
show. I think it came off the way it should.
I think so too. You need to hear this stuff.
I know.
It's like,
That's really
you know what it
comes
is?
down to.
It's stuff that I wish my dad told me and he never did.
Yeah, that's what a lot of these shows are modeled after that. Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yep.
It's painful. Actually, it's easier to learn how to drive from not your dad. So it's, it might be easier to listen to this from your dad than your dad.
Good point.
I don't know.
That's true. Someone could be telling you over and like your spouse. Let's be honest. Your spouse is telling you over and over and over again, that color looks awful on you, right? Or something.
If
well, they're not going to say
your spouse is saying that. That's true.
But you don't listen to them. And then your best friend says, not your best look. You go, oh, well, I'm going to make a change today. I'm not going to be blonde. You know what I mean? And it's funny. You know what I mean? But
that's
then
awesome.
You sometimes have to hear it from a little bit different person, and then you pay attention. Mm. I get that. More of an unrelated third party, maybe not someone quite so close to you. I don't know why that is, but then
what else would you, if your spouse tells you, you kind of blow it off? Give me some examples. It's funny as hell, Joe.
We can't afford that. I blow that one off right away.
How about the divorce papers have been on their nightstand for 6 months?
No.
You started the divorce thing, not me.
No. What do I say that you blow off? This ought to be good.
I'll tell you. It didn't take long for me to pop into my head.
What?
Where would you like to eat?
Oh. Oh, yeah, we have a thing about that.
Yeah, there's a big trial ritual, fully awful scenario that goes on every time we go out to eat.
If that's your big vice with me about my indecisiveness about dinner plans, I think that's okay.
I can safely say that is the single worst thing about you.
Thank you.
And that's it. Everything else is peaches and cream, sweetheart.
All right. Thank you very much. Hey, like our show? Please subscribe and rate us on iTunes or wherever you are listening.
Information and inspiration to buy undervalued property.
We are Jack and Jill, and this was the Cash Flow from Land Show.
We are the experts at acquiring property
Of all kinds, not just land.
for half price just so we can flip it for way more.
And really fast. Thanks for listening. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.